So today we have on Terri Nuno with Liberty Gymnastics Training Center, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the industry and her involvement with the community. So Terri, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Wow. Well, I won't tell you my age. I'm the oldest of five kids. I grew up in the East Bay in Richmond, California, so I'm a California native my whole life. Big Bay Area lover. I mean, we're totally spoiled. I have two brothers and two sisters. My youngest brother's 17 years younger than me. I have three children, and I have three grandchildren, all boys that my daughter has, all on her own, and four and under. They're just adorable, and they're all boy, all boy.
Keeps you
And I,
busy.
oh, she is busy. And one of my sons is in college at Pensacola Christian College. He was actually in the storm that they just had.
Oh, is
And
he okay?
he's good. The campus is wonderful. They have a beautiful generator and they've got some flooding and things, but they were all safe. Best place to
Oh,
be.
good. Good.
And then I have another son who lives in Flagstaff, Arizona, and works with a church up there. So as a youth pastor. So, and my daughter has taken care of all the grandchildren, so she has all the grandbabies. I'm a hiker, love hiking, love the outdoors, animals, dogs. I'm a dog lover, and anything I can do to get outside and be, in the trees or whatever, I'm a happy girl. So, and I've been coaching since I was 15, so a really long time. Dancer by trade, so that's what I did originally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, where's your favorite spot to hike?
Oh, that is really, really rough. Um, I think I would say there's two. Mount
Okay.
Tamalpais and the Oakland Redwoods. I
Okay.
really enjoy those. It's a little more covered, but when
Oh,
you
that's
hike,
nice.
yeah, when you hike up to Mount Tam and you get to the very crest of Mount Tamalpais, and then Canada. I mean, you can't beat Canada. It's just lush and green and gorgeous and wet and not hot. So, yeah, yeah.
I've yet to go, but it's on my list.
Oh, you gotta go. Oh, yes. Yeah, you have to go. Yeah, yeah. It's wonderful.
So you've been in the gymnastics industry then since you were 15.
Yeah.
So you're very passionate about it too. When you're
Mhm.
talking about your industry and Liberty in general, you're very passionate and you're very dedicated to your work.
Mhm.
So why do you find your work so rewarding, and what motivates you to work so hard?
I think first of all, gymnastics is like a family. You know each other for years, and it's a very small community. And I think it's hard, not so much now, but in the beginning, hard as a woman to kind of break into the industry back in the 80s. However, what I did find is as the industry's grown, the women were really supportive. So it's a cool sport for women because it's beautiful and graceful and artistic, but it's strong and it's sweaty and it's just great, and it's extreme sports, right? And I think most importantly is that it does involve kids, and it involves kids from the time they're really small till they're a lot older. And for those children who want a college scholarship or that type of thing, it gives them an opportunity to earn that through their sport. And this sport isn't necessarily always talent, but hard work. And it
Mm-hmm.
teaches so much. It's a team sport and an individual sport. And I think that's why I love it. And I just love the mission of Liberty. It's family oriented. It's had its ups and downs, but it just seems to persevere. And I think everybody that's ever worked and come through there are generally really wonderful people. And the families in general are really great. And when you see a child grow up, especially a young woman, go to college and get married, and you just see their life, it's very rewarding that you had a little bit of part of that. So kids are the center focus, I think, what drives me the most.
So we actually have someone in the audience right now watching 8 years with the Liberty family.
Oh, that's a long time.
That's very cool. So does Liberty focus more on the recreational or the competition side?
That's a really great question. Wow, it's a hard balance. When we opened, what we wanted to do, the reason why the name Liberty was chosen was it gave people a freedom to choose. And we wanted to be able to encompass all talent levels of kids. And I think you need your recreational athletes to be able to kind of support the upper athletes as well. However, through the years, you see little tiny preschoolers grow up, or a child that comes in with fear or having problems at home, and
Mm-hmm.
your focus changes. And I think Liberty's tried their best to be very much 50-50 and see them as just kids. This
Right.
child wants to go to this path and that child wants to go to that path, but both paths are just as important and they really do serve the same purpose. And in gymnastics, we have a recreational competitive program now developed by USA Gymnastics called Excel. And that at first was kind of like, but it really has become a wonderful program for kids who want to experience the sport and competitive sport, but don't want to commit to 5 days a week, 6 days a week.
Right.
So I think we've tried to be balanced. Our sad part right now is we cannot, because of guidelines, serve our recreational and preschool athletes like the need is, and that's kind of disheartening because we know that the children are suffering. So, but we try to keep it balanced for both. I think it's in both, and male and female. Try to make sure everybody is the best you can. Everybody's human, but yeah, that's our goal. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a couple seconds ago.
Oh, it's Henry's mama. Oh, I know her. Hi.
Oh. Hi, Henry's mama. Is Henry in Liberty?
I think so. I think what I remember. Yeah, I know that email.
Okay.
So I'm like, I think I know her.
You mentioned that recreational competitive versus competitive. The competitive side, you might be there 5-6 days a week. So what is the time commitment? And if you don't mind asking, you don't have to share, but even money commitment to be in a competitive gymnastics arena?
Yeah, it is. I would never lie to somebody. It's expensive. It's a time commitment and a monetary commitment for competitive, like on that level, because it just keeps growing. I always say though, it's kind of like Costco gymnastics. Like the more you do, it doesn't. So if you pay $40 an hour, it doesn't increase every hour that you're adding as a competitive athlete. Okay. It's kind of gauged that way, but it is, costs are rising for our kids. To get in a meet is $100. To buy a leotard, if you're just basic, is $60, but if you're an upper level, it could be close to $300, and that's not including travel. And we don't travel with our athletes alone anymore. They have to go with a parent because of everything that's happened in our industry, which is a good thing, all the regulations, but it makes it more expensive for families.
Right.
But we do have a nonprofit that serves that side of us. So our goal is always to raise enough funds to offset those costs, and to raise money to make sure we can provide for those kids who maybe can't afford that amount of money, because it is expensive. And if you go really extreme elite, it is very expensive. So, and it's more of the overhead that everybody has to pay. Renting a facility for 3 days is $11,000 that you have to make up for. And that's just the facility.
Right.
So it is expensive. Yeah.
So does that nonprofit piece then almost act like a scholarship for gymnasts to come through and be a part of the Liberty program?
It's a parent club type of an organization. We have done scholarships in the past. We've had kids where they couldn't afford it, but we thought, oh my goodness, we can't, this child loves it. They're passionate about it. They're good at it. Why would we? So we try the best we can to find ways for them to put in for a scholarship. We have to do the paperwork for that, just so that we can meet everybody's needs. And I have to say our owners have always been really gracious about, sometimes people can't pay their bill, just put it that way. And they're not one to just, well, you can't come back. They work the best that they can with every family to make sure we can keep everybody in as much as possible. Yeah.
That's great. We have a comment. My daughter misses Liberty Gymnastics and does cartwheels all over the house. She even loves the day she got to meet Olympic gymnast Laurie Hernandez. We love Liberty. And I'm going to get to Laurie Hernandez soon, because I was also able to meet her, and that was probably one of the coolest things ever. So on the competitive side, how many gymnasts from Liberty have advanced to a state or national level competition?
I think I can't even count.
Oh, great.
All levels going state championships, bars, beams, floor. My daughter and my sons, each one of them, regional champions, junior elite, level 10 national floor champions. I mean, there's just been so many. And we've had amazing coaches come through Liberty. So, although we as Liberty take credit for it, it's because I think through the years they've had wonderful coaching and passionate coaches about what they do. So, you need that as well. You need good coaches. And it's been really fortunate to have that. And we've had collegiate athletes and scholarship athletes. And I couldn't even count them. I think from the very beginning, we had them all the way through. So it's cool to see and know that you can't even count how many there has been.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and team champions. There's been team champions. One year, my son's year, The boys were ninth in the country. We've had girls win bar national championships, and so it's been amazing. It's been an amazing run to watch all those kids, and some of them are all grown up now, so and some are just beginning. So
right. So to house all of those gymnasts that you have that you're training, last year you guys added a new state-of-the-art facility. So what was that process like, and why did you decide to add another component to it?
Yeah, well, we have about 10,000 square feet in our original facility, and it was predominantly girls. And girls have 4 events, men have 6 events. And I think, over the years, it was difficult for the boys to train, and it was time to kind of give them a space where they could have more than one pommel horse and more than one ring tower. It was a process, though. It was not an easy process. There was a lot of struggles internally and externally. But one of the things that everybody needs to know is that boys gymnastics is not as popular in this country as it is in other countries. And it is a men's event. It is a men's sport. We kind of stole it from them. So, and for the boy who doesn't want to play football or soccer, this is a great sport for them. And as with anything, everybody deserves an opportunity. You don't miss something until it's gone. And our men's gymnastics in this country is at a collegiate level struggling. And this current climate is not helping. William and Mary just lost their program. But that's kind of why we chose to do it. It was, and it's actually a smaller space. It's about 8,000 square feet. So
it's beautiful though.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It was designed by our owner and Chris Nagy and some independent people that help you organize all that. That's not my forte, engineering and putting all the cables and everything. But yeah, it's beautiful. I was just in there Saturday watching the boys, and one of them in particular, his mom is an artist here in Concord actually, and he's grown up in the gym, and he's just like, I come in, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're all grown up, and he's doing cool stuff, and it's fun to see. It's fun to see nice young men growing up in the sport for sure.
Well, and they're so strong. I remember when we did the ribbon cutting for the new facility, some of them were showing us what they did, and it's just like, wow, how you can jump and force yourself in the air like that.
Yeah, and know where you're at, land back on your feet, right?
Yeah. I would not do that.
No, me and you both.
So back to the comment about Laurie Hernandez. She, as we all know, is an Olympic gold medalist, and she's been out to Liberty a couple times, correct?
She's been out once. We've actually had Shannon Miller, Chelsea Memel, and Laurie Hernandez in our gym. Laurie was our most recent. It was a fundraiser through Lucas Sports, who does a lot of fundraising and cheer fundraising and things like that. And we raised a certain amount of money, and then she had these little things that she did with each athlete or groups of athletes. She is a fantastic human being.
She's the sweetest person ever.
And she genuinely is like that. It's funny because she was really sick that day. I found out later she was not feeling well. And I want to say we were catered that day for lunch for Pure Juice Lounge here in Concord.
Yes.
So they did all of our goodies. Shout out to them. Did a fantastic job. And she was so thankful because they had these ginger drinks and she was catching a cold. She was like, sucking them all down. But, and she is fantastic. And so is her mom. In fact, her mother had reached out to one of our athletes at the time to kind of give her just some support to the parent because they were struggling a little bit with some injuries and things. But I'm super starstruck by Laurie Hernandez. She is just adorable. She's very outspoken about changing the face of gymnastics and the way we coach our children right now, which is wonderful. And she's really come into her own. Our women's gymnastics team has just really stood up for young women in general, just to be able to speak. And I'm super proud of them. And she's just as what you see on the floor with her face and her personality is exactly like she is. There is no faking it. She really is that way. So yeah, we enjoy
all the time.
her. All the time. Like all the time. Yeah.
And it was really fun too. We got to meet her before she even met the gymnasts. But just to see the gymnasts' faces when she walked out, you can tell that this is, someone that they look up to and someone that they can strive to be like. And so it's really cool that she comes out to the different centers and is willing to talk to the gymnasts and encourage them.
Right. And she was trying to train at the time for what was supposed to be our Olympics this year, trying to get back into it. But she was traveling. She had just left New Orleans at that time. And I also want to give a shout out to Concord because we worked with the chamber and Visit Concord and the Hilton, and they were able to house her. And she had been in New Orleans, and she walked into the Hilton, was in this beautiful suite, and it was just like, oh my goodness, this is just gorgeous. And you know, it was fantastic, just fantastic. So her and her mom were very excited to be able to be part of that, and very thankful to Concord for that. So you did a good job.
I'm glad everyone was able to band together and help her out too.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've mentioned a couple times, especially during the current situation, that there's some challenges, but what do you think are the greatest challenges that is facing the gymnastics industry, especially with COVID?
Wow, that's a big question. Gymnastics in general has taken a hit over the last few years, and some of it completely rightfully so. But I do think there is change. And so we were trying to recover from that and do what we could to be, my light went out on my thing anyway. Now I'm dark. But I think for now, it is what our industry is very frustrated with is that, and I do want to say our county is probably one of the better. We have 10,000 square feet of industry space in most gym clubs and some places, and we're only allowed 12 children per coach per 4-week session. It's not sustainable. Our gyms across the country are closing rapidly. If it doesn't open up in October, it's going to be a trickle down effect, right? It's going to not just be our industry, the people that we serve and serve us in the service industry, chambers we work with. I mean, just, it's so broad. And I think it's the fact that we need to be recategorized, not as gyms. And our governor needs to really like take a hint and change this. He's got, I think it's our biggest challenge. The industry was so fantastic. NorCal bonded together and met on Zoom calls every week to make sure before we created our own standards. You would not believe what we go through. And athletes are with one coach, 12 kids. That's all you can have. Solid groups, can't change in and out. And they clean their space after they leave it. So it's altered our training. We're all masked. Coaches are masked for safety. And, our parents are not allowed in the gym. They have to watch through something we use called Spot TV so they can see it on their phone. So all these protocols put in, and I would just, we've had no COVID issues in any of our clubs. And
that's good.
Yeah, I think reopening is probably our biggest hurdle right now. And the kids are dying for it. They just miss that interaction. It's getting kind of scary for them, their mental health too right now, and their physical. Yeah.
So opening up is what we can hope the best thing for you guys.
Yeah. Opening. And then when we do that, the community doesn't forget about us. I know the chamber's done a fantastic job with so many industries, but the kids industry, we kind of get like, we're kind of forgotten sometimes because we're so busy, and just that the community will support us and bring their kids back and allow us to open and serve them and trust us. And I think that's how, everybody can work together. And there's many of us, there's a few of us in Concord. So I'm speaking for us as an industry. Whatever gym you were a part of, please don't wait. As soon as they can have many more children safely, please make sure that you're reaching out to your club.
Yeah. So even though you guys are a little bit limited right now, you guys have been very creative with different programs that you've put on, and you've had an Easter Bunny trail, and you've just implemented your distance learning. So can you talk about why getting creative has been important and how it's helped your gym?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was just trying to figure out a way, how can we do, there's got to be somehow. So we first started with day camps, and we were able to do those. And Coach EJ and Coach Tiana did 2 weeks of 24 kids, 12 kids each, for 5 weeks. Now, if you've ever worked with children, 2 weeks in a row is a lot of work. So shout out to Coach EJ and Coach Tiana, because they were fantastic. And then once August hit, we had no more summer camps. So we have a virtual TK and kindergarten class with our wonderful Coach Mark. So if you guys don't know about that, you can do it virtually from home. He just did it today. It's every Monday at 1:30. And then we started our distance learning. That's been a little harder to take off because parents are overwhelmed. And I did ask some of my students or on one of the teams, I said, what do you guys do during the day? They're online from 9 to 1, and the parents don't really know what else to do. So It's concerning because they're not really doing a lot of movement, and the teachers, bless their hearts, are frustrated as well. But we are here for, we have a new session coming up pretty soon. So if you want a child to come to Liberty with their laptop and all those goodies, we'll get them going and then have time for recess and games and interaction. It's small groups, I'm limited in space, but we are called Learn with Liberty. And so we have 6 and up in the gym. And we also have the virtual for the younger ones, and hopefully to open up that soon as well. So, and yours truly yours truly hired the bunny rabbit to come. Let me just tell you, servant leadership is key, friend. And
the bunny trail was great.
Yeah, I'm going to plan something for Halloween as well, similar to that, for the kids to maybe do a drive-in trick-or-treating. That's in the back of my mind. So be on the lookout for them to be able to do that.
Well,
yeah.
Definitely be helping promote that for you guys too. Yeah. Halloween's my favorite holiday, so I'm trying to go all out as much as I can.
Oh, safely. You should do a drive-through, you know? You should drive through, you and the whole gang. I think, your 4th of July car, but all decked out for Halloween, right?
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, we should have a whole drive-through Halloween parade through Concord.
Oh, you might be onto something, Terry.
I know. Why couldn't we do that? We could just stay in your car and decorate your car and hang, be great.
Oh, yeah.
Drive through Todos Santos, Yeah.
We might need to talk about this at the board meeting tomorrow.
I know.
So, as a business association, we usually have businesses join the chamber. You're obviously in youth sports. So how has being a part of the chamber helped your organization thrive?
Well, I think this is a great example. Promotion and city support and being noticed. And sometimes people only gauge the ROI, right? Return on investment. They only see, if I do this, I get this amount of money.
Right.
It is super hard to explain to people that it's not about that. It is about brand recognition and being involved in your community. And that is so important, because when you need something and you're struggling, it's kind of embarrassing to go to an organization and say, oh, by the way, my name is Terri, I work for Liberty. Can you help me?
Right.
But I believe that if you're giving into your community and giving into organizations that you enjoy, the time will come when you can be there for each other. And this time came. This is a perfect example of what we're encountering right now and doing the best we can to promote one another. So I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being part of the community. Things popped up, our sports complex, just so many things have happened. And I can guarantee you, when everything opens up again, it's going to take a team to kind of get everything back on its feet, for sure.
And, we love having you represent a different arena of businesses and organizations that typically don't join chambers. So it's nice to have that input as well, because it makes us look at things differently too.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that Pure Juice was one of your vendors that you used when Laurie Hernandez came to Liberty. Can you talk about why it's important for you to use chamber members as your vendors? And then Kevin had asked, I'm going to wrap this into one question. Can you talk about some of the other organizations that you support as well?
Okay, so if you're going to be part of a chamber, right, kind of the goal is to help each other and to lend a hand. And it doesn't make any sense to me when all of our efforts together build Concord, right, through our businesses and our revenue. Why would I go outside when I'm hypothetically sitting next to another business that needs my help and I need a service? So why not come together? I mean, the whole country could do this right now. Like, you need this and you need that. Why don't you just pull it together and be able to do that? So that's why I choose people in the chamber. And that's the purpose of the chamber, is kind of to help each other. And it's also building Concord. If Concord goes away and industry disappears and the chamber can't survive, everybody has to know it's like I always say, it's a trickle down. It's like a stone in a pond, that one little ripple. And then, and now Jamella's following Laurie Hernandez and we follow him and he's posting great stuff. He's so philosophical. I'm like, oh, I should remember that. He's so great. So that's why I chose to do that. Other organizations that we support, well, we put on a competition back last year, a state championship. And I used, my food vendors were Chamber of Commerce members, and one was I always say it wrong. Pleasant Hill hamburger place. What is that place? Come on. It was
The food truck?
no. Halal. It's a halal burger. It's but there's
Oh,
one in Pleasant Hill.
Burger I Am.
Burger I am. Yeah. She was fantastic. I called her and she was like right there in an instant, brought the food. So everything I did food wise was that. And any kind of organization, from cleaning people in there to people that have to build something, to family, we network with people in our own area, from getting your car fixed to Tamara Steiner. Shout out to Tamara, the pioneer. Like, you people, if only knew how beneficial the pioneer is, to nonprofit organizations that, Family Justice Center. Just make sure you're reaching out to everybody. And export Dennis Costanza. I mean, there's just so many people that have joined our circle. Council member Carlin Olbringer, and Eddie Bersan, and Mayor McGallion, and just so many of them that I've seen in our gym. So, and let us in, what else have we had? Sam's Club, Trader Joe's. I mean, you just name it. And they've all been a part of our process. And so if I need something, porta potties or Chairs for Affairs was one of those people.
Oh,
so yeah,
right.
yeah, they've helped us in so many ways. And it benefits because you get to know each other. And yeah, so we have a lot of people we partner with. And if we disappear, that's a customer that disappears for all of those organizations. So
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Daniel said collaboration. I love it. And I think it's nice to hear too. I think historically people think of a chamber and you think of like accounting services and lawyers, but this is why we exist, because everyone needs to help each other out. And this is a prime example. You've just named off probably 10 businesses that you've now helped in our community.
Yeah. It's not, it's not about years ago. I'm just going to give a shout out to you and William, and the Visit Concord, because years ago I went to Mixer for the Visit Concord, and it was about walking around. Hi, my name is, give you a business card. So different now. We've had people, Diane Covington of Mary Kay was at our 3 days standing on her feet at our state meet. So, it's past that. It's beyond that. It is social media. It's Facebook. It's LinkedIn. It's and every industry you can possibly imagine. Even golfing for little people. I mean, we have it all. Yeah. It's not just about, I need printing services. It's not about that. So it's good to see. And I think people need to step out of the old school thought process and understand now what chambers are really like. I think they should call it Concord Community Chamber or something, because it really is about community. Definitely.
Well, and then this is a great segue into my next question. You're not only an ambassador for the chamber, which I call the face of the chamber for those who don't know. They're the ones when we had events, all of our events, helping set up. But even now, they're contacting members and trying to bring people in and helping connect people. But you also recently just joined the board. So why is it important for you to become involved and get to know the membership and, have a say? You just came up with a great idea with the Halloween parade. Yeah. This is that creativity that I love to see.
Okay, so first of all, being part of the board was intimidating, because the people on the board, I think, are just some of the most fantastic professionals around. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is like big girl time, right? So super impressed by that, and very humbled. There's a lot of reasons for the Concord Chamber Board. They do so much more just from our meetings. One of the things we discussed was inclusivity and diversity, and how to pull other organizations. When I was looking into our chamber members and Black owned businesses, it was Jamel and Let Us In, and that I was like, seriously, what is this? So I want to be sure that we reach out and find a diverse group, but also the nonprofit organizations that the Concord Board of Directors runs. I mean, it doesn't get enough PR. I mean, everybody's working now to survive, but I think I would love to be able to help that grow. I think education, that was one of the little key factors. I thought, I could really help make sure that this earns some money, especially now that we don't have our crab feed, which we will have Kevin Cabral in the future.
Oh, thank you, Terri. Yes, Terri on my side.
Yep. It will happen again. Kevin. But yeah, just to make a deeper difference, decision making and speaking about things and going a little deeper and beyond, to really build a community from within. The chamber and the ambassadors were kind of on the top, but the board of directors is really the foundation of everything. And they're fantastic people. So that's a privilege and big shoes to fill. So that's why I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, and again, it's nice to have a different set of eyes and ears out in the community too, because you might hear things that we don't necessarily hear all the time. So for us, it's important to have a diversity of business industries represented on the board as well. So having youth sports and someone who wants to try to grow Concord and bring a sports complex here and fight for that too, it's important for you to have a voice for that too. And if we can help project that out, we're more than happy to have you on.
Yeah, that type of a thing, sports complex, people, there's a lot of people who like, oh, you don't need another one. Well, you don't understand gymnastics and you don't really understand, come visit me, come sit down with me and talk about what the hurdles are instead of just kind of talking at me. Also, it brings industry into Concord. Visit Concord, and the chamber works so hard to bring tourism. And it's just kind of an easy way to bring families in. They shop, they eat, they stay at hotels, they buy gas, they stop at the liquor store to buy snacks. I mean, you just have they need to go to Target because Susie Q forgot her hairspray, I mean, it's just the full range of things. So yeah, there's just, there's so much more to it than just, gymnastics. What's that got to do with anything? It affects a lot of different industries. So I'm happy to be there.
Thank you. And for those who don't know what Terri was talking about with the nonprofit that we support, so the chamber is a nonprofit on its own, but we also have a 501c3 education foundation that we raise funds and we provide scholarships, and we're looking into raise more funding for that nonprofit that we can give back into the community, whether it's helping the school district purchase Chromebooks, or is there any way that we can help provide hotspots so the students who are learning at home have that internet access. So it's something that we're striving to utilize a little bit more. In the past, we haven't really done a lot for it, but now, especially right now, this is time for us to raise some funds for that and use it as much as we can. Yeah. These kids, they need the help. They need the exercise. They need the Zoom, and they need the distance learning. So if we can help support that.
Yeah. I think we take it for granted that children have access. And Mount Diablo Unified School District, by the way, is doing a great job and working super hard. But it is a myth to think that every child has access to everything like internet. And if it works, and if it doesn't go down, and then keeping track of all those kids, there's just so many facets to it that it's a super important. Education is key. Education does a lot. Reading, writing, and those things that seem so simple to all of us that have the privilege to have it is very different for everybody else. So we got to be sure we provide that.
And for us too, that's our future workforce. So, and something that we're dabbling with too is, yes, kids going to college is important, but also pushing the trades too. There's plenty of jobs out there for the students. If college isn't their avenue that they want to take, there are trainings and certificates that they can get in other industries that might not be a traditional 4-year degree, but the trades are something that students should be looking into. My family is full of trades. My brother, my dad, my aunts and uncles. So if we can train our workforce and produce some good employees, we're going to have a bright future.
Yeah, the industries like the trucking industry and industries like that are needing people. And whether people realize it or not, that's what moves America, right? It's going from one end of the coast to the other. So,
very true.
College is not for everybody, and that there's no right or wrong to that. If you are an amazing carpenter, then you should be an amazing carpenter.
Right.
If you can back up a semi, more power to you, because that's not my forte.
Agreed.
Somebody has to do it. So it's a great thing. Yeah.
No, I mean, me and my brother are perfect examples. Same family. I went to college. He was definitely more of the hands-on person, and he's a stationary engineer out at John Muir. And, you know, he has a great job. It's steady, and he loves doing what he does.
Yeah, Auto Body Concord, yes, and mechanics. Holy moly, what would we do without that? I mean, you know, what would you do? I have a great mechanic, so yeah, I would be lost without all of those guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kevin said, especially in this area, such a strong trades presence. That is very true.
Yeah, I recently moved up to a mountain area, and it is the men and women up here are mostly trades, and I cannot tell you how eye-opening it's been for me, from getting my roof cleaned off to a septic tank service to what would I do without them? They're just driving and using the backhoe thing, and I'm like, I would have fallen over in it, ran in the hole. Falling off.
Probably taken out a tree.
That's right. It would have been not pretty. So,
Will's Auto Body struggles.
Hi, Will's Auto Body. They're our neighbors, actually. Hi, Will.
Yeah.
Great work.
William actually just went out and spoke with them. Actually, your wife called. But hiring, that's a whole other thing that we can help with too. Just a kind of a sidebar. If you guys have jobs available, if you're looking for employees, let us know. We have a website that we can post those on and push them out onto our social media. We have a wide reach on all of our social platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of it.
Yeah, Liberty is hiring. We need coaches because we can only have one coach for 12 kids. So if you have experience, we're hiring as well. So.
Yes, Janine. She's the one.
Yeah. She's keeping it all in gear. Keeping Will straight.
All right. Before we wrap up with Terri, if you guys have any other questions that you'd like to know from Terri or about gymnastics or whatever it may be, put it in the comment section. But I do have to ask, have you jumped in the foam pit?
Yes, of course. That happens because usually I have to dig something out like a mat. Yeah, you know, get something out and move it. But there is a skill to it. But the funniest thing is to watch an adult get in that pit and not be able to get out. And I always go, no, don't jump in it. Or they jump in with their keys and their cell phone and whatever.
And it's all lost.
Yeah, you know, we've even found kids who've lost their tooth. Like, you know, you can't send the chat. So, you know, the whole gym is digging for it. And then we found it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the kids go, oh, my tooth, the tooth fairy. So, you know, we can't leave it there. But yeah, I do. The pit is pretty fun. It's a great exercise if you're crawling across it back and forth. So great cardio.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I remember being a kid and crawling in one and getting tired. I couldn't imagine now trying to get out of that thing.
Yeah, Kevin, you need to jump in.
I will make sure that's a recording that we get.
We have to do that. I think he needs to come by on his bike and visit and just jump in and say, hi, this is Kevin from the chamber.
I'm here in the foam pit at Liberty.
Yeah.
The other one too is your bars that have the, oh gosh, I think it's the bars that have the little area that goes down into the ground.
Oh, the trench pit. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one looks harder to get out of.
Yeah. That is, you know, when you watch Ninja Warrior and you have to run up the wall and get over, those things I don't get in. The boys have no problem. They just grip, pull out. But you know, when you're, no. Yeah. But they are harder to get out of. They're, you know, you gotta, it's embarrassing actually.
Oh, Daniel said Kevin in the foam pit sounds like a fundraiser. I support that.
Let's bet how long does it take Kevin to get out of the foam pit, and then we could just bid on times.
We'll just make it a thing. Like we'll bet on all of us.
We could do a whole. One of us. We could all do it. We could do like a Liberty Ninja obstacle for all the chamber as a fundraiser. I think we could do that and time it.
Kind of like Dancing with the Stars, but just
absolutely. But ninja, kind of Ninja Warrior-ish. Ninja. Yeah. Oh, they're all in.
Notice none of the girls are saying anything.
No, we're like yeah, meanies.
All right, everyone. Well, if there are no more questions, I'd like to thank you, Terri, again for joining us today and sharing some information about youth sports, especially here in Concord, and what you guys are looking for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So support your youth sports, everybody, and support the chamber. It's important.
I'm checking. This will be on video.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will
All
see
right.
you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.